Fortunately, I have had to introduce this project to everyone so we know exactly how it runs. We are going to have two speakers for this first session who will have 10 minutes each to tell their stories. Thereafter, we will engage them in a question and answer session. The idea is to learn, is to share experiences, is to share great moments, is to network, just so we get to know each other better, and we don't know where this thing is going to lead us to. So we have two speakers today. They are all females. There is Solange, Enow, and Shiri Achu, who are here with us. Solange is a Cameroonian speaker, public speaker, like she mentioned. She also specializes in responsible relationships. She speaks to the public on common social issues, and she advises people on how to build responsible relationships within family circles, and you name it. So she's been a resource person on Apex One Radio for a while now, and I've had the opportunity to interact with her. Solange is very, very brilliant. I must attest, you get to find out. And she's done quite a lot. Solange also sings. I guess she released an album or a single so many years ago. I don't know if she would like to talk about that as well. Well, that will depend on her. Then our second speaker is Shuri. Shiri Achu is an internationally acclaimed fine artist and painter with a record number of exhibitions across the world. You get to find out more when she comes on the platform. So I guess at exactly 13 minutes past two, let's listen to our first speaker. Thereafter, we're going to engage her in some questions. So, Solange, once again, thank you for accepting to be our maiden speaker on this platform. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mr. Thank you for having me today.
By the way, Solange, you have 10 minutes.
Okay, sure. Thank you for this, for being a part of this, for inviting me to be part of this maiden edition. I personally am a firm believer in small things. I'm a firm believer in anything starting small. In anything that becomes big, it starts small. So I truly esteem this session, and I thank you for coming up with this idea so we can talk about this and see how we can go from here. But I believe this can be big someday. It's going to be big someday. So, but I already introduced myself. My name is Solange Ayu. I'm from Cameroon, West Africa. I am into public speaking. I'm into coaching, counseling, and a little bit of music there and a little bit of designing here and there. So I do different things, but my main calling, I believe, is in public speaking. And I started it back in Cameroon. It wasn't something I planned to have started because I was in school studying to be, my parents wanted me to be a nurse or a doctor. So I didn't have any dream for my own self personally. I didn't know what I wanted to become. So I went with their dream for me, thinking that's what I would end up becoming. So I was studying to become a nurse. So I did mostly sciences in school, all throughout college and high school. I was more in the science domain. Um, so something happened that made a U-turn in my life. I was supposed to go to the University of Boya, but I didn't get admission that year. So I ended up finding myself in Yaoundé. And I've never studied in French. I didn't understand. And all of it was so hard for me because I studied all through my life in English. So it was a little bit hard for me. So I dropped out after 5 months so I could go to UB the next year. But when I dropped out, my dad had a stroke too. My dad had a stroke during that time, and someone needed to stay back to take care of him. And my mom had left my dad at that time. So much was going on, so it was just us, the kids, and my dad. And I ended up at that point in time in life. I was in a point in my life I wanted to take away my own life. So I kind of felt like my life wasn't useful. I didn't feel like growing up. I was always told I was useless. I was never become anything. So I believed it for a long time. I wanted to take away. I wanted to take my own life away. But someone came to me just in time to talk to me about God, to talk to me about, just to talk to me about God. And for some reason, I just handed over my life to God and I had peace of mind. And I started up a journey. I was going to their fellowship. And in this fellowship, they had an institution called a Human Development Institution. And I was attending this school. And it started helping me see that I am useful, I have potential, I have talent, I can become somebody. And so because of that, I didn't want to take away my life again. I didn't want to take my life. I didn't want to commit suicide anymore. I wanted to leave. I wanted to find out what could be in me that I could offer to the world. And I started realizing that I had this gift of public speaking. And so we sent one time in to Kumba with two other friends as missionaries. We've been trained. They wanted us to go out and impact the lives of people. And I went to Apex One Radio seeking for audience to see how I can use this gift of mine that was in me for public speaking. So they granted me audience. I didn't have the money to pay. But they gave us one opportunity. And during that session we had on the radio, they they were so inspired. They said, you know what, we want to partner with you guys. We're gonna bring you in as resource person. So we started working to them as resource person for the radio for free, and for about 2 years. And I was using that time just to sharpen the gift that was in me. I just kept sharpening the gift. We would have radio sessions. We could talk on education. We could talk on success. By then, I wasn't talking on relationship. Um, and I did that for about 2 years. And then I traveled to the US after that a year, then the next year. And coming to the US, it's a new ground. Many people will tell you you're not going to make any money in public speaking. Don't even waste your time. And in the course of doing that, for those 2 years, I wrote a book in the course of practicing and talking and sharpening my gift. A book was born called Inspiration for Aspiration. So I published that book. It was my first book. And the book made quite a couple of millions in Cameroon. But when I traveled to the US, they told me, forget about all that. It's not going to work here. When you come here, you got to get into either the IT domain or the healthcare field. And when I came in, I struggled with that because I knew that wasn't my passion. But I said, you know what? I got to do this so I can take care of family. And but while doing that, I was trying to pursue my passion on the side, and that caused a lot of conflict. It caused a lot of conflict between friends and family. They couldn't understand, so we always had this clash between, you just got to pursue this. This is the US. That's not going to work here. And I had to keep journeying. I had to keep journeying that path. And with time, I'll talk about some of the challenges. But that's what has brought me to the point I am today as a public speaker, even though I'm a caregiver on the side, but that is really my real passion as a public speaker.
Thank you so much, Solange. That was straight to the point. And someone said your story is really inspiring while you were recounting it. So we just listened there to Solange, her journey. That's a summary of it, of course. Now over to us. Solange is open to questions. We listened to her story. Did that story touch us? Did it inspire us? Do we have some clarifications we would want her to make? But also, who goes first? All right, so the floor is open for who would like to start. Solange is all yours now. Solange, maybe I should start. So, why do you think people usually try to discourage, others who have relocated to the United States about their passion, their dreams, and what they did before? So why do you think people do that? Or is it that nobody has succeeded in the United States without having to do nursing or IT?
Thank you for that question. That's a very key question. I think it's just because when we come in many a times, those who have been there ahead of us and they've walked this path of nursing and IT or being a lawyer or any of this other profession, they have had success in it. And many a times the advice they will give you is according to their experiences. They would feel like, okay, this is where the money is. That's what I was always reminded. This is where the money is. So if you want to make money, you got to get in this domain. So I feel it's just because we haven't really put our eyes on other sectors. We haven't really seen people succeed in their passion, which is what my mom always told me. You're not going to make any money doing public speaking. You're not going to make any money writing books. Don't bother bringing your first book ever in the US. Don't even bother bringing a copy, and so on and so forth. So I think somebody needs to prove that it's possible. And I made up my mind I'm going to be that person. I said, even if it takes me 10 years, 15 years, I'm going to prove that you can be successful outside of this other borders where your passion truly lies. Because this is the land of opportunity. This is the land of dreams. Any dream can become a reality in this country. So that's what I've promised myself. I will keep working as a caregiver, but I must build my dream on the side until it becomes a great success story that I can tell others and show them the way. That's why I love this topic of today, because it's very personal to me. I can truly point them that it's possible. Don't give up on your dream. It's possible.
Every dream can become a reality. Don't give up on your dream. Who is next? Any more questions? Okay, I see Shiri is indicating there.
So Solange, so even after your first book sold so many copies in Cameroon, your mother still didn't want you to come and pursue that here?
Since she wasn't there, she didn't really see the success, because I wasn't really telling her much about it, because I felt she's not gonna agree to this path I'm walking. And so I didn't bother really telling her, even when I tried to tell her, but she still wasn't really open to it. Even still after many years, she still have that a little bit of, she wants me to be be this lawyer, be this doctor. That's what I'm going to be proud of you for. So it kind of feels like, okay, if you're not this, I don't really feel like I really be proud of you in that aspect, even if you're successful. So it's really a conflict. I'll be honest, it's really a conflict. But as time goes on, I realize she's beginning to open up a little bit more, beginning to try to pay attention to what I'm doing, because in the years past, she never really wanted to ever care to look at what I'm doing. So I realize she's beginning to open up to what I'm doing. Yeah, now.
Okay, that's great. Another question for Solange. Solange, what does it entail to be a public speaker? Do you need to go to school for it?
Please provide tech notes from 5-6.
I would say that's a yes and that's a no. Because there are courses you can take if you want to be a public speaker. There are courses you can take for that. But I will speak for me. In my own experience, I didn't have to go to school for that, because I realized it was a gift in me. And I'm not saying that if there are opportunities for me to, upgrade my talent or my gift, I won't go for it. I will go for it. But for me, I didn't have to go to school to be that. I realized it was a gift that God put in me, and I needed to sharpen it. That's why I spend time. I listen to a lot of other speakers. I listen to relationship coaches. I watch them, so I learn from them. So, but you don't have to. You can, as well as you don't have to.
All right. Any other question?
Yeah, I have a question. Like, what kind of am I mute or is it?
No,
can you guys hear me? Okay.
Just fix your camera.
Great. What kind of public speaking do you do, or is there a category to like public speaking? Is there like a particular category, or also what? If yes, what kind of topic or what kind of topic do you do?
Okay, before, when I started back home, I was more into human development, into a person growing holistically, like just having growth in every aspect of your life. If you're successful educationally, you have good morals, you have good character, it was just all about, it was life as a whole. But I realized as time went on, I'm more into relationship coaching in marriage. So it was more like a practice then, but I didn't know exactly what area I was called into. But now it's clear to me that I'm called into the relationship and marriage domain of public speaking, which is why I created a page in 2016 called Relationship Therapy, when I realized that I'm more into public speaking when it comes to better relationship, responsible relationship, treating each other right in a relationship. So I created that page in 2016, and I focused a lot on relationship and marriage. I talk on other areas, but that's my main area: relationship and marriage.
All right. When you started, it was like personal development, but now it's more of marriage, relationship.
Yes.
Okay. Do you need to have a license for that? Did you say you have to have a license, or?
You can, like I said, you can as well as you don't have to. Some people go like okay, here's the thing. I've been doing this for more than 4 years. I didn't need to go to school. I didn't need to do any of that because I realized that was my gift. But being in the United States, I'm beginning to, because when I first came, like I said, I was more into just general development. But when it started narrowing down to the relationship and marriage, I realized that, okay, I could take a course or two to develop in terms of marriage, being a marriage counselor or relationship counselor. So that's what I am looking at doing. Yeah, but I've already been doing the practical of it for the past, 4 years. 4 years when I gave birth to that page, but I've been in the US for more than 4 years. So, but with time, I would take some courses when it comes to that. But still, I'm still using my gifts when it comes to that because I've been in relationships. I've grown up in relationships, so I have a lot of experience to talk when it comes to that.
All right, last question. Do you plan on teaching other people your gifts, like pass it on, train other people?
Yes. I plan on doing that because that's the goal. They always say success without a success, so it's like it's more like failure. So I intend to train other people, but yes, my main goal is helping people to have to be better partners, because when you're a better partner, the relationship is most likely to to be healthy and successful. So my goal is seeing people just grow and to generally just grow as a person, to make progress as a person, not just in what we acquire, but as a person, your human development. So with time, that's what I really intend to do. I will train people, but I want to see people, practice these things in their relationships and in their marriage so they can have a truly healthy environment to live in, because marriage is the base. Family is the base is the foundation of the society. And if we succeed there, we can succeed anywhere else.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Vanji, for those questions. So success without a successor is like a failure. I just learned that today. Thank you so much for that, Solange. AJ is trying to find out how you overcame the negative comments from family and friends when you opted to continue with public speaking. And 4 years down the road, do you still have people making such negative comments about public speaking?
Yeah, it was such a tough battle. November will be 10 years here in the United States for me. Mm-hmm. And it's been a fight. It's been a real fight for the past, I would even say up to the past 9 years. It's been a fight, a real fight, because it's always been this drag. Like you're not gonna make it here. We don't see you. But I just kept going. It was tough. It's hard because one of the biggest challenges I had to face is walking that lonely road. Mm-hmm. Because it's truly lonely when you don't have people see into your dream or speak into it. Even if they are not there for it, at least they give you the encouragement to keep going. I had very few people standing with me. The other majority was like, no, you're a failure, and all of this and all of that. But when you're passionate about something, you just keep going, even if you're alone. So this is my passion. So I just had to keep going. I didn't, have to argue with them and all of that. Sometimes it led to arguments. At the beginning, I would argue and try to prove a point. But as time went on, when people say something, I just laugh. I laugh and I just keep going. And I realized these same people are beginning to come over to watch what we are doing. They come to my page to watch us and all of that. So you just got to keep going. It's really tough sometimes. But when you keep going and you finally arrive, the same people who were talking, they'll be the ones clapping for you. So I just, for me, I'm focused. I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it, and I'm going to keep going.
Right. So once you have the passion, it's very easy to keep going. I can testify to that. Thank you so much for joining us, Ngulefak Franklin. You just joined. So who has the next question before we run off with Solange and move to our next speaker? Do we have any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, Danlet.
All right, so I just want to thank you for that short speech, and it really inspired me because I'm from Liberia and I started doing journalism from high school. And most of the time people would tell me that I can't continue because, number one, in places like Africa, it's hard because journalism doesn't make a lot of money, and journalists are not really respected. So most of the time when I came to the US, most people, some family and friends have always told me to go into nursing and do some other things other than journalism. And I've tried to continue what I'm doing, to continue my journalism, my writing. and other stuff. So I just want to ask you, how have you balanced your passion and your work you do in America?
Okay. Like I said, for me, what I had to do was just divide the time. You know, I even though I'm home at the moment, but I work, and then I like at night I would pursue my passion. Or when I have any space within the day, I would pursue my passion. So that's just how I've done it. I will always work during the day, and then at night I would pursue my passion. Or if I'm working at night during the day, I'll keep building what I'm building that I'm passionate about. So it was tough. It was really tough, to be honest, but I just kept going, and I see things, you know, opening up for me. And so you just got to keep going, just squeeze in the time, just make time. Like Mr. Ennis was saying, you just got to make time for what you love to do on the side. Even if you're pursuing this because this pays the bill, fine. But make time for your dream so it doesn't die. You have to find a way to feed it, to keep it alive. Because if you don't feed it, it's gonna die. So that's just what I had. I had to just squeeze time. I had to just squeeze. Whenever I have the opportunity, I'm working on my dream.
All right, I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So at some point in time, you thought about harming yourself. What one thing that came to your mind? How did you think maybe your family and friends will respond to that?
Oof. Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't even think about anything at that time. I didn't think about nobody. All I thought was I needed to just put an end. Because here's the thing, I had a father, you know, our African parents are different in how they discipline us. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, let me speak for me. Sometimes they could say things to you, they don't know, those words can truly live with you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So my dad was fond of always saying, when he's angry with me, he'll say, useless child, useless child. So he kept saying those things, useless girl. He would call me things like that. And with my mom too, when I do something wrong, she would, you know, she would use words on me that I didn't know how powerful words were back then. But when I wanted to commit suicide, I realized that those words are so powerful. They can become your reality if you believe it. And since I didn't know who I was, I believed it. I believe I'm truly useless. And I had aunties, when I do something, they would gather for a meeting to rebuke me for it, discipline me, but they will never gather to tell me congratulations for something that I did. So that affected my conflict. I didn't have enough self-esteem in myself. I thought, you know, every time they used to call me, my heart started beating fast. Because I knew, have I done something again? And I wasn't really a bad kid. I wasn't a troublesome kid, you know, but it made me see myself like a nobody. So that at that point, I didn't care about what anybody would think. I just wanted to end it all because I knew, you know what, nothing good is ever going to come out from me. There is nothing good in me. I'm useless, you know. So I was thinking about just me. I just want to end this thing. I didn't care what they would think when if they found me hanging somewhere dead, if they found me in my sleep dead. I didn't care about nobody. It's just all about, let me just end it.
Solange, thank you so much, Solange. Thank God.
Can I ask the last question, please?
Okay. One last question, then we'll get the last one from Tina, and we move to our next speaker.
Okay. So how has it affected your parenting skills?
Oh, yes, that has changed my parenting skills a lot because I'm a mom of two now. So I'm very mindful what I tell my child when I'm angry because I don't want history to repeat itself. So I realized words have that much power. So sometimes I could be angry with my son. I'll say, I want to tell him, you stupid boy. But then I think about myself. I think those are the type of words my parents used to me that affected me. And I said, I would hold my tongue. You know, I would hold my tongue. So, and I see God rebuking me sometimes when I'm angry to an extent and I say something, God himself will rebuke me. I would feel the rebuke, the Spirit of God will rebuke me. So I realized it changed my parenting skills a lot in how I discipline my child. Do I discipline him? Yes, but I wouldn't do certain things like use certain words on him. That would deform him for the rest of his life.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to have the last question from Tina, who writes, other than God, where else do you draw your strength and resilience from?
I would like to say, to me, God is truly the foundation of what I do. And when I say that, I don't say it in a religious sense.
Hey.
I know many times when we say God, it sounds religious, but to me, it is more like a relationship. So I would say that's the foundation of where I draw my.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I do?
Am I on mute? Am I mute?
Yeah, you're back. Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I don't know where I did stop, but I was saying that truly my foundation of my strength and resilience comes from God. And when I say that, I don't mean in a religious form, like, no, I mean in a relationship form, because this is who stood with me from when I wanted to commit suicide. God saved me from suicide. I would have been gone more than 15, 20 years ago, but God saved me. So I see God not as a religious figure. I see him like a father, someone who knew the thought in me nobody else knew. And that's who saved me and gave me an opportunity to be here today, to have a second chance at life. So that is the main foundation where I draw my strength. But many a times, like I said, equally for my passion. When people try to derail me, I tap into my passion, what I truly love, and that's what keeps me going. That's my resilience and my where I draw my strength from.
Solange, Enow is a motivational speaker. She is a public speaker, of course. We have listened to her story, very inspiring. We would have much time to listen to her more as time goes on. Solange, thank you so much for that presentation. It was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
You will stay with us while we introduce our next guest. Shiri Achu, like I mentioned earlier on, is an internationally acclaimed fine artist and painter. She's done quite a lot. She's traveled across the world with her brush and paint, and she has told so many beautiful stories just using her brush and her paint. Shiri Achu, over to you. You have 10 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on this premiere. Where can I start with art? So I started painting when I was 9, when my parents took us from Cameroon. So I'm Cameroonian, and they took us from Cameroon to England. And then I had this desire to paint. I don't know where it came from, but I knew that I had to paint. And fortunately for me, Solange, my mother was very encouraging. She got me to practice. She bought me materials. She got me teachers to teach me perspective. She did a lot for me because she's also quite a creative. So she wanted me to, pursue what I love to do. And I didn't like to just sit around and do nothing. So it was something for me to be at least doing. So I started painting. Throughout, school, I was always painting. Throughout university, I decided to go and do architecture. So I went to architectural school, and there I was still painting. And then I finished architecture, became an architect, but I still wanted to paint. So again, my desire, my passion is always keep coming up. Okay, no, you have to paint. I wanted to, in Cameroon, in London, I realized that people didn't really know much about the African culture. They only knew the Maasai. And I'm like, why?
And I watched my dad teach too. That was fun.
I was always wondering why don't these people know any more about the African culture other than just the Maasai? So I thought, okay, I'm going to have an exhibition. My very first exhibition was 11 years ago. I titled it the 30th Act. And in that exhibition, I decided to paint other cultures. I painted the Cameroon culture, men wearing togo. I painted the Yoruba culture. I painted, weddings. I did paint the Maasai because I actually do love the Maasai. There is a reason why people love the Maasai. They are a great tribe. So I said that the aim was that I wanted to now showcase Africa culture so that people can start knowing more about the beautiful African culture, not just the Maasai. So I decided, okay, God downloaded to me that, okay, what you have to do now is travel every year to a new country and exhibit. So people get more familiar with the cultures. So I started with the 35th in print exhibition, which was 7 years ago in London. And then I did the 36th in print exhibition, which here in DC. I did 38 in print exhibition in Australia. I did 39 in print in Jamaica. Then I did 39 in print in Toronto. I know these numbers, they're increasing, but they're the number of works, pieces that were in each exhibition. So the aim is that every year I'll travel to a new country and expose. So it gives me so much joy when someone in Australia, for example, gets to learn about Bafuchu. They get to learn about Achu. They get to learn about, and they actually buy the pieces and put in their house. And then they can explain to their friends, oh, this is the culture in Bamenda or in Nigeria or in Ghana. So I did the 40th act, which was my 10th anniversary of exhibiting around the world. And then this year is the 41 in Prince. I don't know whether you've seen it somewhere live floating around. It's a worldwide virtual exhibition because I have not been able to travel to do an in-person exhibition. So this one is virtual. And actually it's, I think today's exhibition has finished. So we have 2 more days of this exhibition. It's actually currently running. You can see it on my webpage, or you can see it on my Facebook or YouTube. So so 2 more days of, and then the exhibition will be over. So that is what I do. I love to showcase Africa culture because it's beautiful, and I am proud of being Cameroonian. People always ask me, why are you so proud? Like, you grew up in London. God put it in me to love, to love my culture and love to show to the world. So, and I always want people to be proud of who they are. Like, there's nothing you can do about being who you are. So be proud of it, own it, and just, and proclaim and love being who you are. And I've had a great amount of support from my family. So I feel very blessed, because in my journeys, in my quest to do what I'm doing, I've had, some support. It's the financial support that, obviously is always going to be lacking, but, I think I'm doing what I can to do what my heart tells me that I must do. What else can I say? Yes, it's very tiring because I am a full-time architect, but despite that, I sometimes sleeping at 4 o'clock in the morning because I have to get this painting out, or because I have to do an exhibition. I hardly sleep, but I don't, like Solange said, when you have a passion and you can carry on and do what you have to do. Has that been 10 minutes?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shiri. That was a great story. She started at the age of 9, and she has covered a great distance, traveling across the world to share cultures, not only hers, but other people's cultures to the rest of the world. There could be nothing as wonderful as that. So thank you so much. All right, so it's time to quiz her. I will begin, then the rest will follow. So, Shuri, you also said you are an architect as well. Is there any relationship between architecture and fine arts?
Yes, they are connected because they're both very creative. What I can be very, so in architecture, when you have to be very precise, you can't make any mistakes. Art gives me that freedom. So the juxtaposition between the two of them is great, because one focuses me on design and spaces and a different aspect of this creative space. And then this other one, the art side, allows me to drink champagne and just be free and loose. So they're a great combination.
Right. So great combination, architecture and fine arts. So who is next? Any more questions for Shuri?
Yes, I could go next.
Yeah, right. I do have a question, Enes. All right, Shiri. So how do you handle it with being an African person, right? I know we find it very difficult out there, especially being an architect. How do you handle it?
How do I handle being an architect?
As an African working in the United States as an architect, because not many Africans are architects, practicing the profession here in the United States. So how do you sail through?
I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. Because I grew up in London, I don't see color, really. I don't see that there should be any difference in me being a Black or African architect. I just know that it's something that I went to school to do. I did it, and now I'm working in it. I don't experience, luckily for me, I don't experience the racism or any snide comments that other people receive at their workplaces. I feel like I belong in the practice that I work for. And also especially when I'm an artist and I'm exhibiting, I feel like, okay, well, no, like the people who actually buy my work, a lot of Caucasians, they appreciate, and they would buy my work, and they appreciate the fact that, of course, I am an African person and I dress, and you will know that I'm African. So because I celebrate these things, you know, I never feel any negativity around it.
Right. Okay, beautiful. Grace Danda, you had a question. Okay, I don't know if we've lost her. So,
I think I had a question as well.
Okay, go right ahead, Solange.
Okay. Oh, Shuri, that's such a beautiful story. Such a beautiful story. And to have your parents or your mom this to support you for your gift, that is amazing. You know, she was able to, from the very foundation of it, to, you know, buy you the stuff that you need to, so you can truly pursue this. So that's such an inspiring story. I just want to ask you, as an like, okay, the question I wanted to ask first was, okay, is this something that you realized was a gift in you, or you had to study to be an architect?
Okay, in the gift, I think, is the art, because I woke up and I just knew that I had to paint. It was just something that I felt like I needed to paint. And my brother tells me that I found the materials in the backyard. Like, who goes and finds materials in the backyard and starts to paint? Apparently that was my story. I can't recall how I ever got my first paintbrush and paint, but my brother told me that, oh, you found it in the backyard somewhere and you started using it to paint. I'm like, okay, so God placed it there somehow for me to go and find to use. Right. But yes, so then I went to study architecture, because I also, I knew that I was always going to paint. So I also wanted to, during, you know, my younger years, I was good at school, and I wanted to, and my uncle was an architect, and I wanted to also go and learn a craft. And in fact, the opposite story, my mother told me, why are you going to do architecture? Just stay and be an artist. Quite the opposite to you, Solange. Just don't go and, you know, I think it's because it was a 7-year course and she didn't want to have to put me through the whole 7 years. But she was like, nah, just stay and do art. And I said, no, I want to go and do architecture, because I knew I was always going to do the art anyway. So that's, yeah. So the art, I think is something that comes from within, that God had placed me to do. And then the architecture is something that I wanted to do.
Okay, one last thing. What are the challenges you faced along this career path you've been on? What are your challenges?
In art, it's now the exhibitions that I do, they're very tasking. To have to produce 35 pieces and frame them and carry them to a new country and exhibit, and the promotion. For me, typically it's promoting and making the sales. And typically when I would have an exhibition, yes, I'll make sales, but sometimes like this virtual exhibition has been very expensive, but you know, I'm waiting on the sales to come. So I'm finding that what I'm wanting to receive financially is, but in fact, there was a time when I gave up architecture just to focus on art. And I found I wasn't able to survive like that. So I had to go back into architecture so that, you know, that could help me with the art. But despite it, I mean, I don't complain. I don't mind having to spend what I have to do in order to do my art. But it will be good if, you know, I can start having, you know, a lot more sponsors, a lot more help. And I know everyone tells me that I should have, you know, I should have assistants, I should have all this. But of course, that means, you know, I have to pay these people, you know, so it's a fine line between how big I can go without having to get assistance. And of course, when you have assistance, you start having to pay people. So it's, as I mean, artists always, it's always the same story with artists when you struggle a little bit. But when you have your passion, it's okay. You can keep going.
Great. So earlier we had Solange say that she had a lot of negative remarks coming in when she just relocated and had to pursue her dream. So what was your case? Did you have people who also made such comments vis-a-vis fine arts? Because if you are not doing nursing, if you're not an IT person, then you're not making it. So what were people saying about fine arts?
Well, nobody could dare bring me IT or nesting to me because I'll look at them very funny. Because you could tell that's not my domain. With fine arts, they know, you know, when you see that somebody has a passion for something, there's nothing that you can really tell to deter them. You know, you can try and say, well, you should do something else, you know, just in case. And luckily, because I was doing something else just in case, there was really not much, you know, they could really tell me. I could go and do what I wanted to do because I was also doing architecture. So I did not have too much negativity regarding my architecture, thankfully. And I see a question from Grace. Should I take it?
Yes, go ahead.
How do you prepare for a new project? What's the process like in preparation for new projects? Great. Grace, you are in, where are you again? Liberia?
She's in Ohio.
I'm from Liberia, but
you're from Liberia, but you're in Ohio. Okay.
yes.
So my new project could be Liberia.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I wanted to go to Liberia. So maybe my next exhibition will be in Liberia, and I'll contact you since you're a journalist later on, just to find out how, you know, we can do the promotion of the exhibition then. But typically, I would. So the next exhibition that I'm having would be 42 in print. 42 in print will be sometime within this year. And it will be luckily, because the whole COVID thing, I should be able to travel and do the exhibition now one-on-one, not the virtual exhibition. I will be traveling to a new city, and it was either going to be Tokyo or Liberia. So one of the two. And so I'll be having 42 pieces at that exhibition. I will have to curate and select those pieces that I want in the exhibition. I will make them as limited edition prints so that they become affordable and they are transportable. And then, you know, hopefully people can buy them and then I leave those paintings in the countries for the people who purchase them. So that's the whole process. So I have already a bulk of pieces, but I'll make a few new pieces, which I will take into the exhibition. And then, you know, it's all about promoting, having people come to the exhibition and sales, and then wrapping up the exhibition.
Okay, I guess we are just 6 minutes to go. We are about to run off. One of the reasons why we are creating this platform is also to let people interact and know each other and even work, you know, with each other eventually. So that said, Solange and Shiri, you're going to leave your contacts so that the rest of the team can have them. Maybe should you do that in the chat box? I guess that would be great. So
what contact would you like? Sorry, the email address or phone numbers?
Email and phone number. Emails and phone numbers.
Or if you have any social platform that one could follow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Then just to say that we have many other people on this platform who do many things, including Frank Zuru, who is a comedian. These stories will be told eventually. So this is just the start of it. Today is day one. We are just testing the grounds to see how this can take us to. So I want to thank everybody. I'm going to share my screen for the last thing. So tell me if you can see my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if you can see my screen, I just want to appreciate everybody for coming. And usually seminar participants don't go home with empty bags. If they are not getting money in their bag, at least they are getting appreciation, okay? So today I want to appreciate those who took part in this first session. So these are your certificates. Eventually we will be sending out certificates digitally, of course. But so these are your certificates. We had a call on who participated. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a pioneer. So whoever took part in this first edition, you are a pioneer. So we all started this. It is your thing. 5 Thank you so much. Congrats, Tina Nanova. You were part of it. Thank you for taking part in this first edition. Thank you so much, Belta Fonjong. You were part of it as well. Congrats for being a pioneer. Thank you, Franklin Gulefak. You are a pioneer of this. It was wonderful having you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Congrats for being a pioneer. Congrats on being a pioneer of TPW. Okay. Then AJ, thank you so much. Congrats for being on being a pioneer of this initiative. You were part of us today. Atem Akem was part of us as well. Thank you so much for participating, and congrats on being a pioneer. Maxell was there as well. Maxell, thank you so much. This is your certificate of participation. You are a pioneer of this. Solange was our very first speaker, and that goes into the annals. Solange, thank you so much, and congrats on being a pioneer. Same to you, Shiri Achu. Thank you so much for being one of the pioneer speakers, and that has gone into record as well. Hawadatu Koroma, thank you so much. You are in Maryland. You've been part of it as well. Congrats on being a pioneer of this. Thank you so much, Grace Danlett. Congrats on being a pioneer as well. We also had Mr. Iwakna Lee, the Ohio Media School, with whom we do a lot of collaborations here on Apex One Radio. Thank you so much, Mr. Lee, and congrats on being a pioneer of this initiative. So, like I said, this is just the start of it. We don't know where it is going to take us to, but with conviction, I believe it's going to take us somewhere. Let's all watch and see. I will announce the next edition of our seminar, and we will all get back here to listen to more stories. So at exactly 2:58, we are running off. So thank you, everybody. I can't appreciate you enough. Do have a fantastic rest of the day. And when we are meeting for the next session, please come up with ideas. This is just a start of it. We can improve. We can bring in new concepts and see how it looks better. There's room for improvement. We can only get better. So thank you once again, and may God bless all of you.